Welcome to our introductory session of the Enterprise Zambia Challenge Fund. In this presentation, we will share in detail what the project is about and who we are targeting. My name is Mwandija Daka. I am a portfolio manager on the Enterprise Zambia Challenge Fund. We urge you to send us your questions through our exhibition page and to our email info@enterprisezambia.org. You can also follow us on our social media platforms. So just look out for Enterprise Zambia Challenge Fund on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, and you can follow us so that you can see our future posts or send us any other questions that you might have after this presentation. Next slide, please. Okay. Our presentation is structured as follows. To start with, we will talk about the Enterprise Zambia Challenge Fund in detail, who the fund manager and Challenge Fund partners are, and we'll also share what the expected results are on the project. For the second session, we'll talk about the nature of support, the eligible actions that will finance, who is eligible, and highlight the financial support details. And lastly, we'll go into what the fund match funding requirements are, the fund process, and lastly, the application process. So for the Q&A, as I mentioned, please send through your queries or your questions via the Woover app. There's ways you can send us messages through the app. Thank you. Please go on to the next slide. So what is the Enterprise Zambia Challenge Fund? This is a 26 million euro initiative by the European Union to support productivity and market integration of smallholder agriculture through the provision of financial support to medium-sized agribusinesses. The overall aim is for us to improve integration of smallholder farmers and agribusinesses access into national, regional, and international value chains. And we'll have some weighting on gender-focused opportunities and nutritionally sensitive value chains. The duration of this project is 5 years, commencing this year in 2020, and it will end in the year 2025. Next slide. Self-Help Africa is the fund manager of the project with technical assistance from Imani Development. Self-Help Africa is an Irish NGO. Our headquarters are in Dublin, Ireland. So we work with smallholder farmers, farmer associations, cooperatives, and agribusinesses so that we can help rural poor households to grow and sell more food, to improve their diets, and how to diversify and grow their incomes. So this is all for purposes of helping them to improve their livelihoods and have more sustainable income and be resilient to external shocks. We also work to raise awareness of the issues that affect these communities and represent their interests at policy level. Currently, we're working in 9 African countries. These are Burkina Faso, Ethiopia, Kenya, Malawi, Uganda, Zambia itself, Ghana, Togo, and Benin. So we have been in Zambia since the mid-1980s. Next slide. Our partners for this project are the European Union and the government of the Republic of Zambia. As I mentioned earlier, this is an initiative by the European Union. So it forms part of the wider 99 million euro support to the sustainable commercialization of Zambia's smallholder farmers program. It aims to accelerate and leverage investments within the agricultural value chains, and this includes agroforestry and aquaculture. So the EU provides the funding for this project and oversight of the project management to ensure that it aligns with their intentions and has a desired impact. The project further supports the effort of the government of the Republic of Zambia to meet the 7 national development plan. So they are our partners on this project as well. And as mentioned in my previous slide, Self-Help Africa and Imani Development Limited are the fund managers of the Challenge Fund. Next slide. So why Enterprise Zambia? If you look at the slide in front of you, we split it in three. If you look on the right-hand side of it, we've got left-hand side of it, sorry, we've got the micro businesses. These are able to access funding from government, from NGOs, and they're able to access loans from microfinance institutions. And generally there is a lot of support through government initiatives. And in the middle section, we've got the SMEs, or the medium-sized businesses, which we are calling the missing middle. On the right-hand side, we've got the large businesses. So these are your corporates that have got access to a number of financial instruments, such as commercial bank loans, and they're able to raise equity finance. So our aim is to address the problem of the missing middle with the medium-scale businesses. They lack access to affordable finance to invest in innovative ideas. So the Enterprise Zambia Challenge Fund has come in and wants to catalyze investments into inclusive value chains and support agribusinesses that will work with smallholder farmers, either as suppliers or as customers. And these agribusinesses should also be able to provide a link to either the retail customers or to the large processing industries for the smallholder farmers that they will be working with. Lastly, the enterprises that will support should demonstrate commitment to supporting goals to improve sustainability of food systems in the face of climate change. And some of the strategies that we talk about in this project are the Farm to Fork and EU Green Deal strategies. Next slide. What are the expected results for the Enterprise Zambia Challenge Fund? The fund aims to work with between 40 to 45 agribusinesses. By support, we mean that we hope to improve their turnover by at least 25%. And these 45 or 40 agribusinesses that we'll work with should work with 150,000 smallholder farmers. So that is what we mean by integration. So through these SMEs that we'll engage, we aim to have a total of 150,000 smallholder farmers better integrated into sustainable value chains. We also aim to have at least 8,500 net equivalent jobs created. And when it comes to the smallholders that will be integrated, our aim is to see those smallholder farmers increase their marketed produce by up to 90%. We also aim to have at least 70% of the smallholder farmers that will be engaged, as well as the agribusinesses, to use climate smart agriculture. So this will facilitate sustainable increased productivity and incomes, adaptation and building resilience to climate change, and reducing greenhouse gas emissions where possible. And lastly, we also hope to have 650,000 improved livelihoods through this project. Through the entire life cycle, we aim to have a positive impact on cross-cutting issues, which are gender, youth, nutrition, and environmental considerations. Next slide. The nature of support for the Challenge Fund will be in two forms. We will have financial support and we will have technical assistance. So when it comes to financial support, the project will offer agribusinesses financing for critical investments to ensure greater integration of smallholder farmers into sustainable agriculture value chains. This will be achieved through a combination of own funds, grants, and loans from the European Investment Bank's partner banks. The successful agribusinesses that we work with will be required to develop business plans financed through a matching grant of up to 50% and own funds, or where required, a loan. So these grants will be provided to de-risk ventures which financial institutions do not typically finance. So that is where the Challenge Fund is coming in. The second leg of the support will be technical assistance. The program fund managers will provide the selected enterprises with targeted needs-based technical assistance to improve on their business plans and to support overall business growth. Further assistance will be accorded to strengthen farmer groups and cooperatives, post-harvest management and adaptation to climate-smart farming. So this technical assistance will be informed by gaps that will be emanating from the capacity assessment exercise of the agribusinesses and farmer organizations. So once we onboard the successful agribusinesses, we will be engaging them directly on a one-to-one level, and where we see gaps, we will be providing the technical assistance to them so that they can meet the overall goals of the project. Next slide. Okay. Considering that this project is an EU-funded project, it will ensure that the projects that we finance are aligned with initiatives that support the European Union Green Deal strategy to support a green economy. So basically, the Green Deal just resets the commitment to tackling climate challenges and other environmental challenges that the globe is currently facing. And the key cornerstones of the EU Green Deal are the Farm to Fork strategy and the biodiversity strategy, which aims to preserve and restore ecosystems and reduce loss of biodiversity. Next slide. What are the eligible actions that will be supported under the project? So we'll look at two things. To start with, we'll look at initiatives that will result in improved productivity, initiatives that will increase market access. I did mention that some of the objectives are for us to increase the marketed produce of the smallholder farmers by up to 90%. So we aim to help them also to improve their market access so that they can sell whatever produce they make. We'll also support actions that improve post-harvest handling and those that support food safety. Secondly, we aim to support initiatives that support business process towards farmer integration at a greater scale. Next slide. Who are the eligible businesses that we will fund on the Enterprise Zambia Challenge Fund? Eligible applicants are those companies or cooperatives that are registered and incorporated in Zambia, and those who are compliant with all the laws, and they can demonstrate that they work with smallholder farmers at some level, either currently or in the new project that we'll be financing. They should demonstrate that they will be able to integrate smallholder farmers. They must also be for-profit entities. Not-for-profit organizations and government organizations are not eligible as lead applicants, although they may be part of a consortium. So consortium bids are applicable as long as the lead applicant meets the eligibility criteria and it is a for-profit entity. The applicant must also be able to match the financial support with their own funds or credit from EIB partner banks or other partners. The turnover of these agribusinesses must be at least 200,000 euros but not more than 50 million euros, and they should have a maximum asset base of 43 million euros. Lastly, the eligible applicants are those that have at least 3 years of uninterrupted operations prior to the application, and they should provide 2 years of audited accounts and management accounts as well. So we'll need at least a financial track record for the last 3 years, and 2 of those years must be audited accounts. Next slide. Okay. So this slide just shows what are the highlights of the financial support details that we'll have under the Challenge Fund. The fund will award a total of 20.8 million euros, which will be spread out in 3 separate calls of approximately 7 million euros per call. And from this 20.8 million, about 6 million will be dedicated to aquaculture projects over the duration of the project, which is over the 3 calls that we'll have. The minimum grant size is 200,000 euros, or approximately in kwacha terms, about 4 million kwacha. And the maximum grant size is 1 million euros, approximately 20 million kwacha. The Challenge Fund will only award financial support to cover a maximum of 50% of the total value of the proposal, with the applicant matching the balance. The support that we'll give to the agribusinesses will be over a duration of 24 to 30 months, where we'll provide the funding in phases and also provide the technical assistance during this period. Next slide. When it comes to match funding, we have highlighted 2 areas or 2 examples. One, the agribusiness can provide their match funding from their own resources. This can be cash or cash equivalents, or they can get external financing. So this is loans from banks, or it can be in form of equity if at all they partner with other institutions. So the above can be provided by the lead applicant or the consortium partners that they will be working with. Next slide. Okay. So for the fund process, we'll first start with opening the call for proposals. We will advise once the call for proposals is open. We'll share this information on our website and on other social media platforms. So once that is done, interested applicants should then submit a project concept note during the call for concept notes before the deadline. The application form will be accessed through the online platform on our website. So once the concept note is submitted online, it will be screened and only complete applications will be evaluated. Incomplete applications will be rejected. Concept notes submitted will then be scored according to the concept note scoring criteria. So we will share the concept note scoring criteria once the call for proposals is open. And from that scoring, we will then create a shortlist that will be based on the scores that each applicant will have. And applicants will then be notified of the outcome of the application at this stage. Successful applicants will be invited to submit a full proposal. And those who are invited to submit for full proposals will be expected to provide detailed budgets. They will need to develop monitoring tools that will be required during the contract period. And these full proposals must be accompanied by evidence of match funding. So we will conduct a pre-award assessment and compliance check before for each submitted proposal. Once we do our due diligence, the applicant will then be informed in writing concerning their application. And the successful applicants will be required to enter into a formal contract with us once the project proposal is approved and match funding has been fully secured. And then it is with these agribusinesses that we'll now work with over the 24 months to 30 months period that I mentioned in the previous slide. Next slide. The application process will be online. The applicants will be required to go to our website first, and they will see a link that will be saying call for proposals is now open. So they can click on the link and it will prompt them to register. So after registering, then you'll be able to log in with the details that you'll be provided and fill out the application form online. If the concept note is successful, the applicants will use the same credentials to log in, and they'll be able to submit the full proposals once we make it known to them that they can proceed to submit the full proposals. To make the process smoother, we'll also share with potential applicants a PDF document of the application form so that they can use that to collect information offline. So that once they have all the information on the application form, when they come to fill out the form online, they just use that to make them fill out the online form much faster. Next slide. Okay. In summary, the Enterprise Zambia Challenge Fund is looking for proposals that have a positive impact or neutral impact on the environment, proposals that will integrate smallholder farmers into commercial value chains, either as suppliers or as customers. This is very critical. If you listen to my introductory remarks, I did mention that this is the overall objective of the Enterprise Zambia Challenge Fund. So we will look for proposals that integrate smallholder farmers into agricultural value chains. And finally, we will look at projects that are commercially viable and are able to create jobs. So keep checking our website for information on when our call for proposals will be open. Thank you for listening in. Just please share your queries and questions through the Wova app. Thank you.